WWE WrestleMania 34, Sunday, April 8th, streaming live on WWE Network from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, with Roman Reigns challenging the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar for the Universal Title. In Lesnar's corner, his advocate and best mic man in the business today, Paul Heyman. Thank you so much, Mr. Heyman. Rather than calling you a manager or agent, the word advocate is used. Is that wording something you came up with to be different? For t-shirts, was it why the advocate?
Well, number one, I have not wanted to be labeled a manager since 1990. My last client as a manager was Mean Mark Callis in WCW, who went on to become The Undertaker. In 1991, when we formed the Dangerous Alliance, I was the CEO of the Dangerous Alliance. When I started with Brock Lesnar in 2002, I was Brock Lesnar's agent, and I think we have evolved that character into being an advocate, because I'm not a manager. A manager has a different role historically in pro wrestling / sports entertainment, and I'm not a manager. I don't get physically involved in Brock Lesnar's matches. I'm not here to distract the referee. I'm an advocate. I speak on behalf of my client, and I articulate on his message to the masses. And that's what I do. I get the name advocate from my father, who was the greatest man I ever knew, because my father was a trial attorney. And as with most attorneys, when they push on behalf of their client and the judge starts to push back, my father would say to the judge, Your Honor, I'm just an advocate. And I always liked that when my father did that. So as a tribute to my father and as an authentic representation for what I do on behalf of my client, Brock Lesnar, I gave myself the label that the industry should adopt of advocate.
It's a very cool word and a very good backstory, and thank you for sharing that. Now, the WWE Hall of Fame is Friday, April 6th on WWE Network. You will induct Goldberg. Why do you think, Paul, he was able to rise to the top so quickly? Was it just that part, that generation, that time frame of what was going on in wrestling? I don't know. Do you have a look at that?
I think Goldberg had the right look. Goldberg could back up the look. People understood the presentation of Goldberg was, again, to go back to this word, authentic. And Goldberg captured the imagination of fans on a global basis because he was, at the time, the most explosive character in sports entertainment. His physicality was just so different than everyone else's, and his explosiveness could not be denied.
They're also someone that you're very familiar with, obviously going back to the ECW days, and what a tremendous job all the talent there, and you, sir, did with ECW, and that's the Dudley Boyz. And I was just curious, looking back at the beginnings of the Dudley Boyz, where did you see them going? It changed over time, it evolved, but back then you had these sort of nerds, Urkel meeting Woodstock, meeting Mighty Igor, Bubba stuttering. You have Lenny Bruce, Joel Gertner in there. I mean, Spike was the most authentic nerd looking of the group, but just what was the whole mindset? And Paul even using the name Dudley.
The original concept for the Dudley Boyz was the Hanson brothers in Slapshot.
Oh, that was great. The three badasses in Slapshot.
Which is where the glasses come from. I was a huge fan of the movie Slapshot, and I was even a bigger fan of the character of the Hanson brothers. So we were looking for new tag team concepts in ECW, and I wanted to create an act that would be ECW's version of the Hanson brothers. The name Dudley was just something that was in my head at the time, and the first Dudley character was Dudley, and then we would expand into other Dudley brothers in a pro wrestling family populated throughout the world by Big Daddy Dudley, who was legendary journeyman carpetbagger, boulevardier, and raconteur. So along came amongst the many Dudley characters Bubba, and down the road came Devon. And when they got into the ring together, magic just happened. The box office appeal of Bubba and Devon together became apparent the first time we saw them tag team.
What do you think about them? I'm not a big fan of comparing, but I'll ask it. I guess I'm going to ask it another way. What do you think about them just in what they've been able to do in their long historic career?
Well, you're not a fan of comparing, but who would you compare them to?
That's the thing. When you look at all the great tag teams, there was nothing, and there is nothing like them.
No, because nobody's had the longevity of the Dudley Boyz. And if you put them together today, on either side of the roster, they would be just as progressive and contemporary as they were 20-something years ago. And the Dudleys have probably lost more matches than any quote-unquote legendary tag team ever in history. The best tag team that I've ever seen, and I never got a chance to see them live because as a tag team they were before my time, but the best team I've ever seen on tape was Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens. Just an amazing tandem that could have had a run akin to the Dudley Boyz. Besides Patterson and Stevens, I've never seen a tag team like the Dudley Boyz. I've never seen a team that can work with anybody and bring the crowd to its highest level every night, guaranteed. You know you get your money's worth if Dudley Boyz are on the bill. So for them to be able to do that, and not for a short period of time, not for 5 years or 10 years, but doing it for over 20 years, is a testament to both Bubba Ray and Devon, and to just the chemistry that tag team offered.
Couple more questions, Paul.